which is the birthplace of Islam. Therefore, when Ezekiel speaks of Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya, he's speaking of the Islamic Arab states. And Turkey is also mentioned a verse later. Ezekiel 38:7, God says to Russia, be thou a guard unto them. That means be a commander to them, be a leader to them. Russia became a leader to them in the early 90s. At that point in time, Benjamin Netanyahu, when he was in his first term as Prime Minister of Israel, sat in my office and told me that the Russians were assisting Iran in putting together medium-range missiles that could reach London, Jerusalem, and the eastern seaboard of the United States, and the Russians were helping them do it. He said he gave that information to America's intelligence community, and they couldn't believe it, and so he had the Mossad give them actual pictures. And then when they saw the pictures, they believed it. So it is a fact. Ezekiel 38:8, read, after many days you will be visited in the latter years, and you will come into the land who has been brought back from the sword and gathered from many people on the mountains of Israel, which have long been desolate. They were brought out of the nations, and now all of them dwell safely. You will ascend coming like a storm, covering the land like a cloud. God is saying this Russian Islamic army is coming, and they're coming to the mountains of Israel, and there are so many of them that they are like a cloud. There are millions of them that have come like a cloud to cover the land. Ezekiel 38:11 speaks of the land of unwalled villages. Why is Israel referred to as a place of unwalled villages? Because in the Old Testament, your military fortification was a wall. If you had a strong wall, you had strong fortification. If you had no wall, you were absolutely susceptible to any kind of military attack. Israel in the 21st century has one of the most powerful military forces on the face of the earth. I would say man for man, gun for gun, they're as good as anybody on the earth. So why are they saying they're a land of unwalled villages? The only biblical reason this could exist is that Israel has signed a 7-year peace accord with the Antichrist who comes out of Europe. And we have reached the 3.5-year period where the Antichrist breaks that peace accord. And he does nothing to help Israel in this hour of disaster. 38:13. Have you come to take a spoil? Look at this. Sheba, Dedan, and the merchants of Tarshish and all the young lions will say, have you come to take plunder? Now the young lions refer to Britain and America, because we are Johnny-come-lately countries compared to Israel and Egypt, so forth. The British symbol is that of a lion. We came out of that, so we are the young lions. And they have looked at this picture. You've got millions of people, army, invading Israel. And our State Department sends a letter to Russia saying, have you come to do harm? Doesn't that sound like our people? Tell us it's not true. Russia wants to control the oil-rich Persian Gulf. And they're going to make their play here. What's the payoff for the Arabs? They get the Temple Mount. Why the Temple Mount? Because the Temple Mount is where Muhammad rode his horse, Barak, into heaven. 38:13, America's response. Have you come to take plunder? Why this response? Why is America not going to Israel's aid when they see this massive military entourage coming? One, after Iraq and after Afghanistan, America is not going to go to war in the Middle East again for any reason forever. Our economy is swimming in red. We do not have the money to wage a major war. Look how long it took us to decide to do a flyover with other nations because of the money. Do you think that our government would take on Russia, Iran, and all of those Islamic nations by themselves? Not on your life. They're not going to do it. Besides, we have a president who's not willing to stand with Israel in difficult situations. That's a fact. 38:16 says, you will come up against my people Israel like a cloud to cover the land. It will be in the latter days. I will bring you against my land so that the nations may know me, when I am hallowed in you, O God, before their eyes. What does that mean? That means God is orchestrating this war. That means he's orchestrating it because he wants the world to see that he is the Savior of Israel. Just as God destroyed Pharaoh and his army in the Exodus, God is going to crush Russia, Iran, and all of these people in this Islamic army. In Ezekiel 38:18 through 23, God destroys the Russian Arab armies in these three ways. Look at the 38th chapter, verse 19. There he describes there will be a massive earthquake in Israel. Where is that earthquake going to happen? It's going to happen on that battlefield. God's going to open the ground. Millions of them will be gone. You say God wouldn't do that. Yes, he has. He's already done that. Remember in the Old Testament, Moses was having trouble with the leadership in his church. God said, get all the troublemakers out in front of the tent of meeting. Just stand back. God opened the ground and buried them all. And right away, the Jewish people said, don't mess with Moses. He's God's man.